because we care about our democracy. We're going through a difficult time, a transition, but if everybody pulls together, we're going to be okay. So please, show up. It's the most important thing you can do. Stop being one person and join a group. Thanks.
We're marching because the rich are taking over the world right now, and we're basically wanting to save our environment, our schools, the opportunities for everybody to have freedom and to be able to participate in this country.
And social justice.
IP28 is a grassroots ballot initiative campaign in Oregon to remove the exemptions from our animal cruelty laws so that they apply equally to all animals. It would recognize the inviolable rights of animals in farms, testing centers, exhibitions, and in the wild, the way that we recognize the rights of our companion animals. Sign your name to help get this on the ballot for 2026 and vote yes.
I'm here as an elder, hopefully a wise elder. I'm here for the young people, for sure. And the young people are what will give me hope. And so I want to be here for them. And I'm here for the planet, Mother Earth. I mean, we really just have really messed up, I would swear. And so we really need to wake up. That's why I'm here.
Hi, I'm Adrienne Rizzo. I'm a student over at the University of Oregon. I'm here at this really awesome march. This march is about people power, about making a statement to say that we have rights and we know it, and nobody's ever going to take that away from us. And yeah, we're here to show solidarity and support each other and be the catalyst for change.
I could not be more grateful to be surrounded by people who are like-minded, who want better for us, who want to be able to look at their neighbor and say, I accept you for who you are no matter what.
Yes.
Republican? Yes, no matter what.
Yes.
We are here to show people that peaceful assembly is still what gets the word across. We are here to show people that what we saw in January 4 years ago, 5 years ago now, is not how we make a change. We are here to show people that unity and power comes in numbers. There are many, many children here in our march, many families. Please be responsible and watch out for those kids. Make sure they're not near the streets. Make sure they are surrounded by people who will keep them safe. They are the backbone of our country. They are the most vulnerable. They are our priority.
Yes.
They are our future.
So much for being here. I'm so happy to be here with you all. I want to start my remarks today with a quote from Audre Lorde, who said, "I am not free while any woman is not free. Even from my own. In this country, we talk about women's rights as if those rights just fell out of the sky one day, magically, out of nowhere. But those rights were struggled for, they were fought for, and they were won. Often at great personal sacrifice to countless women whose faces and names we will never know.
Instead of war, when we make peace instead of war. Instead of war, oh how I want to be in that number. When we make peace instead of war. When we stand up, for what is right, for what is right. When we stand up for what is right. For what is right, oh how I want to be in that number. When we stand up for what is right. When all the world has human rights, when we make peace instead of war.
Oh, not another night! Not another nickel! Not another night! Not another nickel! When our people are under attack, what do we do? When the planet is under attack, what do we do? The people united will never be divided! The people united will never be divided!
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me well? Yeah. Okay. My name is Andy L. Brown. I am the Assistant Director of Operations for the Eugene Springfield NAACP. It is my distinct honor to welcome you all to the 2025 Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. It's a privilege to stand here before you and gather in this important occasion. First of all, I want to thank everybody who came out and participated in that march and weathered the storm. Not so much the storm, weathered the weather. I hope you all are thawed out now, right? It was a doozy, but it was not the ice storm that it was last year, and I'm very glad that we were able to participate and go forward and without that postponement. The turnout was amazing. Those of you who came out and really, it was a sight to see. I have never seen something that really gave me so much pride in this community. Thank you. We are here to be. Sorry, I'm a little flustered today. That cold really did a number on me as well. Today's theme is United for Justice. Many voices, one movement, and that speaks volumes about the climate of today, which also is why I feel so strongly about what we saw during that march. A lot of us united. I want to take a little bit more time just to express my gratitude to each of you. You could have been anywhere else, especially during that march, in that weather, in that cold. I don't like the cold at all, personally. It's the bane of my existence. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here with us. And I appreciate that. We at the NAACP appreciate that. We in the Black community appreciate that. Lane County appreciates that. Because this is more than just one organization. This is more than just one demographic. This is something that pertains to all of us. This is now a national holiday. It affects all of us. I thank you all for being here. Thank you. This year's program is centered on collective action as Dr. King's life and work reminds us that justice is not passive, but participatory. Together we'll honor his legacy through song, through stories, and powerful reflections. We'll hear from the incredible Dr. Stephanie Bolger, who is our wonderful keynote today, and a panel of distinguished elected officials. Namely, we have the mayor of Springfield, Sean Van Gordon, will be with us. The new mayor of Eugene, Karen Knutson, will be here with us. We have Commissioner Lori Trieger, so proud to be here, so thankful. And we will have Governor Tina Kotex will be here with us. And we're going to have a discussion about critical conversations that shape our community. I also want to give a special thank you to Native Youth Wellness, which is a division in Lane ESD, who has partnered with us for this event. And throughout this event, there will be youth programming happening in the other auditorium over here. So if at any time the youth want to take a break and go experience some youth programming, it's right over there, okay? But if you want to stay here and enjoy with us, glad to have you. Thank you so much. So this thing it's really important that we acknowledge what we do for the youth, because the youth is what energizes us, what drives us, and what gives us hope for the future. Finally, I encourage you all to engage with the community organizers and organizations that are in the gallery. I know some of you already have, but we're going to have more opportunity to do so after the program is done. These partners amplify the work that we do here in the community, and we are very thankful for them.
Hello, I'm Delisa Mishintabi, Executive Director of Volunteers in Medicine Clinic. We are a free clinic for those who fall from 0% to 300% of the federal poverty level. On site, we have doctors that care for free, and we have a pharmacy on site. We have lab services where we draw blood. All of this is free to the patients that come in the door. And what we do is we're just really a community that helps the community. And Sister Monica Heron and a lot of community members got together. It'll be 25 years next year that we've been in existence. And I just want everyone to know that you can give of your time, talent, your treasure by donating. If you know someone who needs services, come and help us out, or come volunteer. We need you all. It's like I said, the community helping the community.
Let's move forward together. At this time, I want to bring up Pastor Delisa Mishintabi, who is the pastor of St. Mark's CME Church, to give us our opening prayer.
Good afternoon. I want to start out with a reflection. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. This was from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. If you would all bow your heads with me, hearts lifted up. Gracious God, we live in times of deep division, mistrust, and violence. Bless in a special way our celebration of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Open our hearts and minds to your truth and renew our commitment to justice and peace, pursued through cooperation and love. Fill us with your Holy Spirit, that we might realize and accept that we are all members of the same human family, created in your image and likeness. May the example of Dr. King inspire us to see in one another sisters and brothers with a common origin and destiny, guided by the conviction that together we can nobly fulfill the promise of our nation We pray in the name of our Lord and Savior, who is our Creator and who calls us to create communities of justice, freedom, and peace. Amen.
I have the honor now to introduce you to our MC for the day. Most of you probably already know this gentleman, but he has traveled the world bringing light and laughter and entertainment to many, many. He's been on programs such as the Jay Leno Show. You may have seen him at Oregon Duck football games, Oregon Duck basketball games, and in spite of all that, he still has the humility and the foresight to reach back into the community and give support and uplift the next generation as a teacher at Willamette High School. This is a young man, as I call him. I've known him since my college days, since he first interviewed me when I was playing football, and he, in the interview, messed up my name. I don't hold grudges, though. Please welcome Mr. Nate Jackson.
What's up? We gotta get some energy in this place. What's up? This is a Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. So, you know what? I want you to have an opportunity to yell a little louder. I see you all up there as well. I want you to have the opportunity to yell a little louder. So I'll say, how are you doing? And then you can say, yell at the top of your lungs. You can say, I'm doing fine. Or you can say, I'm about to punch the guy next to me. Whatever. Whatever you want to say, this world is yours, okay? All right. Please don't punch the guy next to me. Because I don't want him punching me afterwards. All right, here we go. Let's try this again. What's up? How you doing? All right. So once again, we are here at the Martin Luther King celebration, and I tell you, it is such an honor to be able to present at this amazing event. Now, I did some research here, and I have some fun facts for you, by the way. Did you know, first of all, does anyone know what day they hold Martin Luther King celebration every year? Y'all better know this. It's today, the 20th. Okay, so they hold it every year, and the day that he was assassinated was in 1968, right? But did you know that it took his wife, Coretta Scott, 18 years to get this into an official holiday? All that he did for the country, and it still took 18 years of protests, 18 years of petitions, and finally, President Reagan signed it in 1983, and it became an official holiday in 1986. There's your history lesson. Give a round of applause for Coretta Scott. Trivia for you. Usually at these events, people do a lot of talking. And I'm like, oh gosh, I'll always get ready to go to sleep in these events right here. Not this one. And y'all like this event. But I have some trivia for you to shake things up a little bit. Let's see if you paid attention in history class. I mean, if they taught it in history class. Good Lord. By the way, let me just point out, like Andy L. said, I'm a history teacher. I teach American Studies, World Studies, and I created our Black Studies program at Willamette High School. It's the only one. All right, here we go. It's time for your, wait, did someone say gold Wolverines? Gold Wolverines, buddy. All right, here we go. Time for your trivia. You guys want an easy one or a hard one?
Easy.
She said easy. All right. Okay, we'll work our way up. How about this one here? What year did Martin Luther King Jr. deliver his I Have a Dream speech? Just yell it out. 64? No? You failed? 63. All right. That was too easy. How about this one? What is MLK Jr.'s name?
Martin Luther King.
You thought it was Martin, didn't you? I did too. It is not Martin. His real name is actually Michael King, but his daddy was inspired by Martin Luther over there in Europe, and he said, I'll change his name. But look it up on your phone right now. His real name is Michael King. Raise your hand if you already knew that. One person? All right. Let's see here. How about one more, and then I'll get out of your way. Oh, here's one. Here's one for you. Who refused to give up her seat on the Montgomery, Alabama bus boycott? Gosh, you're yelling at me. Everyone's yelling at me. All right, okay. But, answer this question. True or false? Rosa Parks was the first to give up her seat. True is false. Okay. Yes, it's false. But do you know the name of the original person who gave up their seat? Who? Amber. Who? Who else? Who? What? Is that a kid? How old are you? Wow, getting raised right. Claudette Colvin. Preceded her. Obviously, there have been many people from buses to the trolleys who refused to give up their seat, and they just didn't get put in the newspaper. But as far as Rosa Parks goes, Claudette Colvin, she was a 15-year-old girl who had done it before Rosa Parks, and the reason why they didn't use her, the NAACP, is because of a few different reasons. This is arguable. This is not me and my information. This is just what the debate says. But they said because she was dark-skinned, the NAACP didn't use her. Because she was dark-skinned, she was a young mother. So she was a teenage mother. And they said that wouldn't be good for the optics on the screen. So they got a light-skinned Rosa Parks to do it. And also Rosa Parks was part of that organization. So she was well-connected. So when Rosa Parks sat on that bus, she didn't just randomly sit on the bus. She purposely sit on the bus so that she could get arrested, so that they could use it as a media national attention exposure, and then they went on and led the Montgomery bus boycott. There we go. All right, y'all ready to get on with this show? All right, we have here, before we start every program, we have to do this. It is the Black National Anthem. Yes, we have the National Anthem, but this is the Black National Anthem. So we have, let's see, NDL. Is it just NDL singing the Black National Anthem? Yeah. All right, give it up for NDL singing.
You see, I've known Nate for a long time and loved him for a long time. You see how he said, "Is it just NDL?" Everybody, my name is just NDL. That's okay. But no, it's not just NDL. It's all of us. So we're all going to sing this thing. Is that okay? Yeah. Beautiful. So, go ahead and stand up. Now, the way that you're probably used to hearing this thing sung is slow and somber and a dirge. I don't like that so much. We're going to speed this up a little bit, okay? So let's start with this. Let's get a little rhythm going. I want you to clap your hands. Don't rush it. Clap with me, right here.
Facing the rising sun of our new day.
over there, the U of O's gospel choir, and I'll introduce them in just a second. Hold on. Let me do it to him right. All right, here. The U of O gospel choir is so good, so good. I saw them sing at some church about a couple months ago, and man, they were hitting those notes. And in fact, I had to record a song on my phone, just like bootleg style. I didn't sell it, but I didn't sell it. But I recorded it on my phone, and I had to just hear them sing. They are so passionate. They are so driven. They are so young and strong. And I'm excited to welcome the U of O Gospel Choir led by Hendy L. Brown. Give it up.
Y'all ready? Yeah. This is gospel music. Gospel music is participatory. If you feel like dancing, go ahead and dance. If you feel like clapping, go ahead and clap. If you know the song, sing along. This song is called The Best Is Yet to Come.
Hold
got one more for you. This next one is called Work on Me, and it speaks for itself. The work that we're doing right here is good work. The work that you're all doing in participation of this program is good work. There's good trouble and there's good work.
If you knew him, he could really galvanize and say, what are we doing for this community? I look back now from what he gave and what he put out. I got here at the same time that Senator Manny had moved here. We didn't know each other at all, and Dallas just always pushed us to do better for our community. The people that don't know what you're doing, that you did it. He wasn't looking for a clap on the hand. He wasn't looking for any praise. You got to know how to give before you can receive. You got to know how to give. And if you give something, it's because God gave you a gift. Use it. Let's take this time right here. We're celebrating someone else who's done something for us so many years ago. And here we are. The same people that should not be in this room together if we go back 20, 30, 40 years ago. And here we are. I just want to say, it's been hard without him. Because I don't have enough to do. Dallas was that guy. And if anything that we can do, I will continuously to follow some of the things they've asked. I'm still doing things that Dallas left for me to do. And there's some other people who hold me accountable because they know that he left some things to do. I am honored, I am pleased to live in the state of Oregon. The people of Oregon is a great place to live. It's a great place to bond. It's an awesome place. We can do this together. It takes all of us. Every last one of us. I thank anyone and everyone who ever came across his path because he meant it from his heart. And be careful if you ask him something, because if you did, he had something to give you. And you would end up doing a whole bunch of things that you could say I'm proud of, but to go one man that could spread himself out that far to so many people at any time. I'll leave you with this. My daughter, bless her heart, and all the work that she's done, Dallas was huge in her life. Huge. He pushed her. Told her she could be anything she wanted to do. So you got the right mother and father. Now you got to go do yours. Ain't too many people on this earth walking around can do that. You guys, we, right here, let's just keep this going. Dallas is still here with us. Anything that he said, he done, he gave, we have a part of that. Now let's go out and let's keep building. Thank you all. He said something he shouldn't have said. I'm never busy. You can't be busy when you're doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
You can't be busy when you're having fun doing what you need to do. You can't be busy when you're around people trying to help you do something that you don't know how to do. I'm not busy.
Like I said, I want to be that kind of busy. So I'm not busy. I was busy today. I'm not busy though. Exactly. Thank you for that perspective. We lost another pillar also. And Miss Lily Reynolds Parker she was my academic advisor in college. She is the reason I did not drop out of college. And she is, right? I know a number of people in here can say the same thing. I almost flunked out my freshman year. My GPA was, I had a 1.36 GPA my fall term of my freshman year. And because of her, somebody said me too. Because of her,
I ended up graduating on the dean's list. Right? Again, another me too. Right? So she was that kind of inspiration, that kind of power, that kind of force in my life. And to I want to bring somebody up to speak to her who also has that kind of power and influence and force in our lives. Pastor Delisa Missiontubby is someone who is a pillar in the community in her own right. And again, we have to give those who are powerful in our community flowers while they are here. So Pastor, thank you so much.
Well, good afternoon again. All right. I'm going to give you the Cliff Note version of what I know about Lily because we could have been here all afternoon. So, born May 8, 1946, Lily Reynolds Parker was a daughter, a sister, a wife, a mother, a grandmother, an aunt to many, whether you shared her blood or not, a civil rights activist, an educator, but most of all, a friend. Lily had an incredible way of making everyone feel welcome the moment you met her. This truly was a gift, and this gift connected her with students from all over the country who found themselves here in Eugene at the University of Oregon, and to those who didn't even go to the University of Oregon. There were a lot of firsts in Lily's life. She was born into one of the city's first black families. She was the first black child born in the Eugene Hospital. Her birth certificate identified her as white to avoid persecution by the Ku Klux Klan. She attended white elementary and middle schools. In 1964, she became one of the first 3 black students to graduate from Eugene Sheldon High School. In 1991, as a non-traditional student and a single mother, Lily Parker earned her bachelor's degree in sociology from the University of Oregon. She worked at the University of Oregon as an academic advisor in the Office of Multicultural Academic Success for 17 years until she retired. My daughter was also one who was a recipient of Lily's love and her kindness. She was mother, auntie, and cheerleader for so many students as well as the community. At the urging of the Black Student Task Force, in 2018, the University of Oregon broke ground on a new Black Cultural Center. When the university sought public input regarding the name of the building, overwhelmingly support for Reynolds Parker convinced the Board of Trustees to make exception to its rule of naming the building after donors who had died. And all 84% of the public respondents voted to name the building after her. There's also the Lily B. Parker Black, Indigenous, and Women of Color Speaker Series named after her. And this is something to behold. When you see the speakers that have come and that have sat and chatted with her, you can't help but get inspired to do the work. Her faith and love for God kept her going, and her love for people kept her light shining, as I'm a witness to that. She was a member of St. Mark CME Church, where I had the pleasure of being not just her friend, but her pastor as well. But she pastored me just as much as I pastored her. She left this earth on August 22nd, 2024. And in closing, what I'd like to say, she had such a relationship with God that He allowed her to leave this world her way. All right? So as you go forth, remember those who we stand on the shoulders of. And I ask you all to remember Lily Reynolds Parker with fondness, with gratitude, and with love. Thank you.
Kotek served the state previously as the Speaker of the Oregon House of Representatives. She is well known for her advocacy on housing and LGBTQ+ rights. Thank you, Jennifer. Incoming Mayor Karen Knudsen. Mayor Knudsen is the mayor of Eugene, elected in 2024. She is an architect, a writer, an educator with a focus on sustainable urban design and housing reform. Mayor Knudsen. Commissioner Lori Trieger. Commissioner Trieger serves as a Wayne County Commissioner representing South Eugene. Prior to being elected in 2020, Lori worked for 40 years as a grassroots organizer, policy advocate, and nonprofit professional with a focus on reproductive rights, local food systems, gender and racial justice, and community improvement.
All right.
And Mayor Van Gordon. Mayor Sean Van Gordon is the mayor of Springfield and a director of United Health Group. He has been a key advocate for housing, economic development, and transportation policy. Let's hear it from Mayor. Hello, all of you. Thank you so much for being on this panel. Just for the audience, this panel discussion is around today's theme, United for Justice, Many Voices, One Movement. I have the privilege of moderating this panel with government officials, distinguished officials, who are deeply engaged in advancing justice in our communities. Our conversation today is going to focus on how government leaders can unify our community to create more equitable systems, amplify diverse voices, and drive meaningful change. We'll cover topics ranging from policymaking and community engagement to innovative solutions for systemic issues. And we'll get started with Governor Kotek. Well, we'll get started with Governor Kotek, but with a general question for everyone. And that question is, what inspires you personally to continue advocating for justice, and how do you navigate the challenges of this work?
Well, thank you, President Bolger. And first of all, I want to thank the Eugene Springfield chapter of the NAACP for the invite to be here today, as well as all the great programming. Amazing work. And we got some sunshine for the march. Sorry I wasn't able to join you, but we all needed some sunshine today. So it's good to be here. And President Bolger, it's so great to have you here. And thank you for your leadership at Lane Community College, because we know community colleges are really an opportunity to success. So pathway to success. You know, for me, justice is really, I think, very basic. It's about people's full humanity, being who they are, and full opportunity that should go along with that. I was a nonprofit advocate before I got into elected office, and what I saw was when people had opportunity, when people were treated fairly, they could be successful. And that's good for all of us. And I think we forget that sometimes, that when everybody has justice, we all have justice. And I think that's really important. For me, I think in this world, when you're in elected office, you got to listen to folks who have different lived experience than you do to really understand how we get to justice together. I'm really fortunate that we have in law now a racial justice council that is advisory to the governor here in the state of Oregon. That it's a tremendous group of leaders who give me advice all the time and feedback and suggestions on how we can do the work of state government better and to navigate all the barriers that are out there for justice for everyone. So I'm really blessed to have this job because we all need to fight for justice, and I feel fortunate I can be here with you today, so thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Knudsen.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you so much for being with us here today. It's truly delightful to have you. I will just say briefly, what inspires me is looking out to see all of you here together, being with people all across our community, and seeing just how many people here and in many communities are very focused on building bridges to a future that we share. And in that work of building bridges, seeing each other's shared humanity, understanding that the responsibilities we carry, we feel personally every day, but we are also contributing to a future that others will experience every day. And that, I think, is deeply inspiring. There's a great awareness in our community in Eugene that we are building a legacy every day with our actions, and I am deeply inspired personally to be a part of continuing that work and continuing to bend the arc of justice here very locally towards outcomes that truly do serve our whole community and have everyone feeling as though they are at home here. So thank you.
Thank you, and I just want to echo the governor's appreciation to the NAACP for hosting this event year after year after year after year, and for inviting us to be part of this panel. I think it's really important to put a face to your local elected leaders and to know that we are all accessible to you. We are here to serve you. The question about what inspires me personally, I mean, the thing about getting older is the longer you live, the longer your story is, and the more examples you have to give. So some other time, I'd be happy to share that arc of my own personal work. But what I would say is, from a very young age, as the daughter of an immigrant mother, I saw injustice, and once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. And so for me, justice is not about a moment or an action. It's really a skin to live in. It's a language to speak. It's an operating system. And I have experienced personally injustices, and I have witnessed injustices nearly every day of my life, because again, once you see it, you can't unsee it, and it's all around us. So when we talk about navigating the challenges, we will probably use the word barriers a lot, I'm guessing, on this panel. We have to remember that those barriers don't just intrinsically exist. They were put there, whether through policy or physical impediments. And so for me, being inspired to be committed to justice is that I don't know any other way. And being in this role now, I will share one very brief anecdote, because it's thanks to the governor. Before she was the governor, when she was in the state legislature, before I was in elected office, we have known each other over 20 years from our days working in food banks together. And I was in a workshop, and she was in the state legislature, and I was not yet in elected office, and she saw me in the back of the room at this training for people interested in running, and she was like, "Come here." And we had this conversation. She said, "Are you considering running sometime?" And I said, "Maybe." And she said, "It's different on this side of the table, but we need you here." And so I think you'll hear a lot of this in the panel today, is we need all of us in all the seats that we're in. We need the advocates and the activists to get clear about what you need and to keep pushing for it, for those that are impacted by what you're asking for, to work with you, to keep us accountable, but to also understand our role doesn't have to be adversarial. It is a very different role on this side of the table. But these folks that are up here with me, and many of our other elected leaders who are here today, we are on your side, but we are in a very different role to break down these barriers, to remove these barriers, and to speak the language of justice. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me for Springfield. When I think about justice, I really think about the kids of Springfield. Springfield is really a community of choice. It's a community of opportunity. If people have been there, people walk through Springfield and just sort of smile and say, there's something about this place. And what inspires me about work towards justice is because the goal is to leave a better world for our kids. And I want that feeling for all the kids of Springfield. And I want that feeling for when kids launch out into their life, where they look back at their community and say, I was raised in a community that is both inspiring, that I want to go back to and raise my kids, that I want to grow that, and that frankly treated me fairly, that honored where I was coming from, and that took my perspective in as part of our community's story. I think it's always interesting when you just chat. One of the best parts about being mayor is how many corners of the city I get to see. We're 13 square miles, 60,000 people. We're both small and big at the same time. So I get the opportunity to know a lot of people, but then I get to spend the opportunity going and meeting new people and just being amazed about their story and what makes them successful, and just be on their team to want to see them be successful in their life.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your personal vision. Let's move on to some more specific questions related to the same theme, beginning with Governor Kotek. Governor Kotek, given Oregon's ambitious goal of building simply thousands of new homes annually, and the state's ongoing investments in housing supply and infrastructure, what are your thoughts on ensuring that a significant portion of these homes will be accessible and affordable to marginalized communities, particularly communities of color?
Thank you for the question. Well, if you've all been paying attention, I love to talk about housing. Had my State of the State speech last week and talked a lot about what we're doing here in the state to get people who are unsheltered into housing, into shelter, but also just the housing supply issues we have here in the state. When people are housed safely, affordably, they have justice, they have opportunity. When I spent those years at Oregon Food Bank, the folks who could figure out their housing costs were going to make it. And we just have too many challenges here in the state for affordable housing, safe housing, and that comes to capacity, right? We just need more supply. At the state, as in all of my housing and homelessness initiatives, we are not losing track of the disparity that is already there. Historically, there have been laws, there have been efforts to disenfranchise people from housing. And we know homeownership in particular is the key to intergenerational wealth, and there have been barriers in this state and across the country for folks to get into homeownership. In the programs that I've been advocating for at the state level and through my budgets and policies, we keep our eye on those disparities, whether it's in our rehousing programs, making sure that we have clear numbers and metrics coming from the folks who are providing that care. Like, are we seeing equal access to those shelter options, to those rehousing options? When we look at the resources the state is putting into development of affordable housing, we need all kinds of housing. Lower income, workforce housing, the whole spectrum, home ownership. At the state, one of our goals is to make sure our investments are really trying to get to those income levels where the private sector is just not going to build at the same levels. And in those efforts, making sure we have very specific racial equity goals, making sure that when projects are coming in that there are goals embedded in those housing units that are going to get built with public dollars, because that is how we will reverse some of the history in this state to get more folks, more diverse folks into housing and into home ownership. When we talk about home ownership, I was just in Bend, and we were talking about middle housing in particular. So we cannot just afford to continue to build single-family standalone homes or big multifamily apartments. We need the type of housing that gives more options for people. Duplexes, quads, triplexes, cluster apartments. They're doing that in Penn, and they're doing it in a home ownership model through land trusts where folks can get into home ownership. All kinds of people getting into home ownership. Folks that, when we look at our numbers of home ownership for our Black, Indigenous, and people of color communities, we are not where we need to be. And so I would challenge all of us to really recognize that we need different housing options in our communities for not only rental properties, but home ownership. It is justice when people can have options within established neighborhoods, so everyone can benefit from the things that have been there for everybody else. And so we have some work to do. I'll have a Build This session on more on middle housing, but we need to get more options out there, more affordable options. And again, that is how we get true opportunity for everyone across the state. So we have to keep working on it. So thank you.
Governor, if I could ask a follow-up question, how does the work that you just described fit in with homelessness reduction plans that you've talked about?
Yeah, well, for the first time in the state, and we'll be looking at a piece of legislation this coming session, to really have a statewide system for the first time of shelter, transitional shelter, and rehousing programs. Look, Lane County in particular, I would just do a shout out for, has been doing some tremendous work at the county level, the city levels, getting folks off the streets into shelter. 2 years ago when I declared my state of emergency around homelessness, that gave us flexibility to bring in different ideas. And now across the state, We've built hundreds and hundreds of more shelter units where people can get stable and get into housing. Now, the key there is making sure that we're tracking the numbers. So like, well, who are we serving? Are the people being served reflect the individuals who are experiencing homelessness? And we know the numbers show that, particularly the Black community and our Native American community, disproportionately represented in our unsheltered homeless community. So we know that we have to move those numbers. And so that has been a goal for the service providers who are getting resources now from the state to say, you gotta be looking at this, you gotta be doing better. And I think people are stepping up and doing that, and I think we're making progress.
Well, we certainly know that behavioral health is an issue in our state, and the next question really is for you, Commissioner Trieger. As the state makes significant investments in mental health and behavioral health services, what steps are you championing in your jurisdiction to integrate these services into local public safety initiatives, and how are you building trust within diverse communities to ensure they feel supported rather than criminalized?
Thank you for the question, and this is a topic near and dear. I could take the rest of your day talking about it and still not exhaust everything I would want to say about it. Before I directly answer that question, I want to appreciate the governor calling out Lane County and appreciate her for her leadership and her vision with the emergency declaration. If you want to learn more about the work she referenced, all in Lane County, if you put that in the search bar on the county website, you will see all the dashboards, all the programs that we've stood up with the investment made possible by that order. And it is not unrelated to this question about behavioral health. Not everyone who is unhoused has a behavioral health issue that is unaddressed, but many do. And not everyone with a behavioral health issue is unhoused. Very true, youth and adults alike. So in particular, to the question, 3 things that I'm working very hard on right now and have been for years. One is standing up our Behavioral Health Stabilization Center, which we have a real opportunity to construct in partnership with a psychiatric hospital that Peace Health is constructing. This will be like an emergency room for the mind. This will be a place where someone can go when they're in that acute stage of crisis and receive the help they need. We have so many people who have gone so long with behavioral health issues untreated that we have many more people who are much sicker than justice would allow. So putting this program in place will be one piece of a system that is missing several components, but it will be a critically important one. So working to secure the final bits of capital funding to build our stabilization center will be a key way to address behavioral health needs for everyone in the community, youth and adults alike, highly acute to just an early crisis that if it can be intercepted and they can get the help they need, it will put them on a healthier path. The second is our mobile crisis program, which we just launched last year. We have 6 fully outfitted vans with both peers and highly trained medical professionals on board. Talk about meeting people where they are. This is a unit that can literally drive out to where a person is. It covers the entirety of Lane County. We're a county geographically the size of the state of Connecticut, so that's no small thing, right? From Florence all the way to Oak Ridge up near Willamette Pass, you're still in Lane County. So this is a unit where somebody who is in crisis in the moment can get help. It's really like field medicine. This will reduce the burden on both these programs I mentioned on our emergency rooms, where people are waiting far too long to get the help that they need. But most especially, I want to address the question asked as it relates to what we're talking about here today, and that is our deflection program. And again, thank you to the governor and the state legislature for the investment in Lane County to stand up our deflection program. This is the work in response to Measure 110, the decriminalization of drugs. Then there were reforms made to what Measure 110, which recriminalized possession. Deflection is a program where in Lane County we've done it quite holistically, where we're working in partnership with law enforcement, with community organizations, with treatment providers. So when law enforcement is called out because someone is having an event, they are offered the option, if they're eligible, to be put into a deflection program instead of being cited and taken to jail. So specifically to your question around criminalization. Often the activities that are criminal are not the root of the problem, and they result from someone feeding an addiction or having a behavioral health crisis, and they do not belong in our jails. Although, side note, I will say in our jail in Lane County, we do provide addiction medicine and behavioral health services, but it is not an appropriate setting for people to get those those kinds of care, and it puts them into a criminal justice system then that, again, ironically has the word justice in it, and yet is one of the most unjust systems we have ever built in this country. So the deflection program is an opportunity to hold those charges in abeyance while the person works through a very different track of programming where they get access to the treatment they need for their behavioral health issue if they have one, for their addiction if they have a substance use disorder, and can even directly put them into housing if that is what they need in the moment, all manner of services. And what's critically important about this program, and again, speaking because of what we're here and who we're here to honor and celebrate today, yes, we are working very hard to ensure this program is responsive to the need of many different marginalized communities, but especially because of the history between law enforcement and the Black community, we still have a lot of work to do, but we are digging in and leaning into that work, not shying away from it, not glossing over it, having the hard conversations, working with the partners in the community to continually and iteratively retune that program and make sure that it is as responsive as it can be to the folks who are historically most harmed.
Thank you so much. Most of that, we were not aware of, so thank you for sharing all of those things with us. Why don't we have our mayors join this conversation, and let's talk about inclusion. We'll start with you, Mayor Van Gordon. Springfield and Eugene have historically been leaders in civil rights, yet many in these communities believe there has been a decline in efforts to address bias and foster inclusion. Can you describe for us your vision for strengthening the city's role in promoting equity, inclusion, and belonging, and ensure that marginalized communities feel safe and valued in your city?
Well, that's a great question. And the first thing I wanted to say was really thank you for the premise of the question, which is, recognizing that Springfield has had has been a historic advocate for civil rights. One of the things that's happening right now is, and when we're done here, I'm going to go join it, is that our school district's running its MLK March and activities at this moment, and they've been doing it for 27 years, which is longer than I've lived in Springfield. I've thought about this from a couple of different ways. One of them is that when I got on council in 2010, it always felt like you could separate local news from national news. And right now, it seems like national news sort of just takes all the oxygen out of the room. And it's incumbent among us as elected officials is to get better and be more responsible to tell the stories that are happening in our communities and where we're getting it right, especially in a world where we see the velocity of national news continue to increase. A couple places where I think Springfield has done a lot of great work the last couple of years. Springfield History Museum's out in the lobby. They were on their fourth year of their Illumination Project, and the Illumination Project is an opportunity to take, they select a marginalized community every year and take another oral history. And when they tell the story, it's fantastic, and they take about 6 or 7 oral histories a year. When they started it, the museum curator during the pandemic was telling us that, that there were only 2 non-white pictures in our collection. And one of them had a name associated to it. And that sort of inspired this journey to sort of collect the stories that are through Springfield in a very Springfield way. And they've done this successfully, and they do it better every year, and it's interesting to read, and so please check that out. The other piece that I want to note is really that Libraries Plaza program, which is during the summer, every Wednesday we have cultural festivities in the plaza out in front of City Hall and invite basically the entire community down. And the amount of people that continue to come out and enjoy those activities is amazing, but it's all cultural programming. And I like taking my twins there. It is a great time. And then lastly, I think Springfield's got is a bunch of overlapping governments, right? So when I answer Springfield, I think of Springfield, the community. And if you look at the work that William Lane's doing, you look at the work that the Springfield School District's doing, especially to redevelop, certain parks. The city's doing work around using CDBG funds to take out old tree stumps in our, lower income neighborhoods so that we can get ready to plant new trees. It's all the small things that we do every single day to make the community go forward. We've got to do a better job of getting that news out and having conversations about what else do people need.
Thank you.
And thank you to the AV folks. I made the microphone not work. That was not their fault. That was my doing. Thank you for this question. It's an interesting framing, my vision of the city's work. And so I first just want to start by saying that my personal vision for our community, when I think about inclusion and belonging, is that we are a community where everyone feels at home, where everyone feels that they have the stability and the opportunity that they need to build their dreams, and that we truly are every day receiving the benefits of being a community that really holds belonging to be a close personal value, interpersonally, and then also how we express that and amplify that out through our community networks and also through our policies, because I want to say that while what I just described might be a personal relationship or a relationship among a group of people in a community, the City of Eugene has also done the work to integrate the concept of belonging, the sense of belonging, culture of belonging in our strategic planning work. Why I bother to mention that is because that plan, the city's strategic plan, it's our first. It was just put into place a couple of years ago. It's the first time we've had a structured strategic plan. But that plan guides every other project, all of the other work that we do as a community, guides how we prioritize the allocation of resources, how we think about the way that different types of projects and work are integrated. So when you're thinking about how can we go upstream and make sure that this value through our local government is clear and expressed and then delivered in a way that is measurable and meaningful in our community so that we are accountable, that we can track our progress and also identify the gaps and the places where we're falling short. I think our city has just launched into a chapter and an era where I actually expect us to do some incredibly powerful work. And I think that the timing is right, because when or as I should say, fortuitous that we have built this ship, because I think that we are going to need this ship that we have built to sail into the seas ahead of us in coming years. When I think about what our marginalized communities will need in order to feel safe within community, and though they too can be at home here and a part of everything that we are doing as an enterprise in the city of Eugene, that means standing on well-established policy. And we have well-established policy that clarifies that we choose to be inclusive, that we choose not to allow our resources to be used to target people or to rope people into question or potential actions related to presumptions about immigration status. Those are values that have been expressed in policy through local ordinance and resolution, which is local law. And we will defend those laws, we will stand on those laws, and we will continue to be one of the places in our country, and I expect our cities to be thousands of these places that show how it is that we are going to walk into a future, regardless of the headwinds that we face, that is more inclusive and where everyone feels as though they belong.
For sharing that, and both of you, really appreciate your perspectives there. Many of us really are concerned about continuing the great equity work that we've been engaged in. And so I've got a question for all of you is, given the recent and upcoming threats to doing equity work, can you share with us some commitments you're willing to make publicly to communities of color? And I think Mayor Knudsen, you got us started. Let's start with you, Mayor Gordon, and then work our way down the road.
Yeah. I think this question is really important, and all local politics is truly local. And I think I kind of was self-reflective when I looked through this, and just wanted to remind people that that everybody's got a place at Springfield's table because everybody's part of our story. It's everybody's table. And I think that's a really important place to start. And I think when I think about this as an elected official, being an elected official teaches you something about yourself every single day. And one of the things that I've learned is the importance of knowing when to speed up and knowing when to slow down, and the importance of listening that comes around to it. And I read this once when I became mayor, was that sometimes elected officials listen to respond, right? Instead of listening to understand. And I guess I wanted to start with my commitment would be that there's not a part regionally, there's not a part that I wouldn't go with anybody on this stage in this county or in this state to learn about what Oregonians go through every single day. Not listen to respond about what maybe the city's doing, but listening on an individual level to understand. And once I understand, then we can discuss, right, where do we go? How do we build the future that we want, right? And that is something we all get to do together, and that it makes it particularly inspiring. The other piece is the importance of flexibility, right, and storytelling. Flexibility in the sense that, I sit inside a lot of, government process, and that's not necessarily always understood to the average person. Right? Nobody wants to hear about how the parliamentarian told me I couldn't do it. But it's incumbent on me as an elected official to take a second and just talk to you about what you're going through and explain, well, what the city can do and help get you to the right spot, I'm sorry. There's a lot of governments out there, like different types of districts and governments, and as the chief elected official for the city of Springfield, sometimes people come to me and say, I'm the last stop for a lot of problems. I have a problem, I don't know where to go. And my commitment is that, hey, if it's not the city that can help you, I will take you to the person that can help you. I will introduce you so that you can get your issue addressed, resolved, heard, and help you get to the right door.
Thank you, Madam Commissioner Trigger.
Thank you. Threats to equity work are not new. They're just a lot louder and a lot bolder right now. And some of that is a tactic, so be aware of that too, right? So the most important thing we can do is stay grounded in what is actually happening. Where is the work really being done versus where are the threats being talked about? Those are two different places. So I live in where the work is being done, and that's where I stay. However, we are entering into a different federal administration than we've ever seen. Changes have happened before at the federal level, and what I always like to say about local government in particular, and county government in particular, because we really operate as the arm of the state, right? So much of the essential services we provide are through state statute and mandate that county governments provide them. Behavioral health services, public health services, being the housing authority, running elections, land use and land management, many, many others. So county governments can either be an accelerant for really great federal policy that we're excited about, or a firewall against policies from the federal level that might harm folks here in our community. And so we are working at Lane County right now to assess and attend to what is being talked about and what is likely to be done and how will it impact us. And we're trying to really stay focused and live in that world of what might actually be done through policy that will impact us and our ability to deliver the programs and services people need and deserve. It's a different world, and it's hard not to get pulled into the what is being talked about. But that is the discipline, that is the practice. As far as what I will do, I'll keep doing what I've always done, which is hold the line. And an example, just to put real world examples onto things. And again, when Governor Kotek was then Speaker Kotek, we worked together on a state bill that was modeled on local ordinance in the city of Eugene. I managed the campaign to pass a paid sick time law to make sure every worker had the ability to take paid time off and didn't risk losing their job when they were ill or to stay home with their loved ones. We leveraged that coalition from Portland and Eugene passing those laws to a statewide bill. Governor Kotek was the speaker at the time. And we were constantly being asked to compromise. And here's the thing about compromise. It's not a problem to compromise, it's what are you compromising? So we were willing, as the coalition advocating for this bill, to compromise on the accrual rate for paid time off, for how many hours somebody could get, for example, or how large a company this would apply to. We would not compromise on who it applies to. That is, we would not, our line in the sand was, no, we won't carve out, for example, seasonal workers, right? Because that's coded language, that's racist policy. That means predominantly migrant workers who are here to pick our food in the summer won't get this fundamental worker protection. So compromise isn't always a bad thing, but you have to really know what you're compromising and who Whose rights are you giving away? Whose justice are you compromising when you make your decisions?
Thank you. Mayor Knudsen? Sure, and I just mentioned a moment ago the work that the City of Eugene has done to integrate belonging and the values of equity far upstream in our policy work. But I also do want to take a moment to share a little bit of information that I've gathered recently, and I asked some of our Central Service Administration folks to pull this data for me so that I could talk with you about it, because it's important current event information related to how our city far downstream is tracking our success and tracking the experience that people are having here on the ground. And the way that we gather that information primarily through a formal path is our hate and bias reporting at the City of Eugene. This is a program that's been in place for over a decade, and I want to also begin with the enormous caveat that only about half, based on about 15 years of data collection, the assumption is only about half of cases of criminal or incidents of hate and bias are actually reported. So we know we're not looking at the whole picture, but the picture we can see with the information that's being brought forward is helping us as a community to know where we need to work. So on average, since 2013, we've had about 40 hate and bias crimes in our community per year, in average. But there was a significant jump in 2017, the year of, after I should say, the 2016 presidential election, when we jumped up to 74 crimes. Similarly, non-criminal incidents in the past decade also peaked in 2017 at 51. Setting aside that 1 year peak, the 9-year average would be 26. So that gives you a bit of a sense of the jump in terms of that magnitude. These past few years, our numbers for both hate and bias crimes and incidents have been trending down since 2021, and we will have a new hate and bias report in 2024 after shifting to a new data collection path, working with the Attorney General at the state DOJ, which is a great resource for us, and I just want to tell you a little bit about that. But that report is still coming to look at this past year. The city has not reduced the budget that we have assigned to working on equity in our community, to working on these issues, and I will hope to work with our city council towards resolution of our current budget questions that still prioritize this work. Again, it's called out at the top of the strategic plan. If it's at the top of your strategic plan, it has funding attached to it. Otherwise, what is that plan good for, right? And important to flag for you for future strategic planning processes, which I will ask you to participate in 100%. But I do want to say that in 2013, the city transitioned to using the statewide Oregon Bias Response Hotline, which has both phone and online reporting options. The phone number is 1-844-924-BIAS, B-I-A-S. And that number, if you leave a message, will return calls, and it will also accept relay calls left after hours. The hotline, and this is a wonderful resource, has access to interpreters in 240 languages. That is a capacity that we do not have locally. It's a great example of being able to leverage coordinated statewide efforts on this front to our local community and bring those resources to our local community. The folks who you will be talking with on that hotline are trained trauma-informed advocates, trained in crisis intervention, and they can help with planning for next steps, including the process of reporting a biased crime to law enforcement, depending on the jurisdiction that you're calling from. So I wanted to highlight that because that is the downstream work, right? This is a report. It tells us about things that have already happened in our community, traumas and crises and crimes that have occurred based on hate and bias, right? And if it's a hate crime, as you all well know, this is, or bias crime, this is specific, right? It's not a question whether or not a person is being targeted based on their presumed race or immigration status or religious background. So we as a city will continue to use this resource and to build out this resource using the statewide data. Looking forward to that being something that we'll see again this coming year with our new set of resources behind it. But we will stay focused and attentive to this work because it's important to our community's future. Thank you. And Governor Hilton.
Thank you. There's a lot to say on this topic. We have built some wonderful things here in the state of Oregon. I think we heard about it today, people who've moved here, and it's all incumbent upon all of us to create and sustain that feeling of belonging, that everyone is valuable, everyone should have opportunity. This is a place where everyone can be themselves. And that takes a lot of work. There are a couple ways you can continue to defend that. One is, as been mentioned here, we've put some really strong infrastructure in place, whether it's our reporting systems, our policies that are really focused on equitable outcomes. Our commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion is about the last word, which is belonging. And at the state, for example, when I came in, I wanted to make sure that every agency in the state has a strategic plan, and they also have to have a diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging plan. You build these infrastructures, they don't change everything overnight, but they send a message, and you maintain them, you enhance them, you improve them over time. We have a lot of good things here to get us through the next 4 years. I want to remind people that the sanctuary promise legislation or laws that are on the books come from the 80s. This is a long-term commitment from Oregonians to say what the relationship should be between our public agencies and immigration enforcement. We've made some adjustments on those when I was speaker to clarify and strengthen, but they are part of who we are as a state. They are not new. And I think we can be, without a lot of drama, tell people that we as Oregonians will stand up for our values, stand up for our neighbors, and protect people in this new environment with the new administration.